Today I'm going to give you a video that's going to give you some basics for Mac. If you're new to Mac or if you're just coming from Windows and you want to know more about it, this will give you a very good basis to start on. The first obvious things are what looks different. What looks different is there's a dock at the bottom. The dock is not as abnormal as it used to be. I have seen some Windows computers that have a dock by default. I think HP has it. I'm not sure if it's built into Windows 7. I know to use the taskbar at the bottom a little differently now. But dock's at the bottom. It can be moved to the left or right or the bottom. It can be auto hidden just like the start bar in Windows. The second thing is the menu bar at the top. In Windows, when you have a program, the program has a menu bar at the top. This is not the case in Apple. The menu bar is always at the top of the screen. So instead of clicking File or Edit right here on the program, it's always at the top of the screen. This, if you're going to switch over to Mac, will probably be what takes you the longest to get used to using. The second thing is there is no tools most of the time under a program with options. In Windows you have File, Edit, there's normally a Tools here and you have options for the program. In Apple, you click on the name of the program, so for this one it would be Text Edit, and then Preferences. What this does is it brings up the options for the program. Here I can change whatever is available to be changed for the program. Now, one other peculiar thing about Apple that Windows users may not like at first, and it may not make sense, is that when you close a program, typically it's not really closed. So if I close this and I close Text Edit, you see at the top of the screen it still says Text Edit. Now if you look down here at my dock, this is the logo for Text Edit. This little dot underneath of it down here shows that the program's still running. This program has no dot, it's not running. This program has a dot, it's running. This one has a dot, it's running. These are not running and using all resources. They're kind of held in RAM, so if you open it a second time, it'll open up more quickly. To close a program for good, you can either right click on the dock and click Quit, or the alternative is to hold down the Command key and hit Q, or the Apple key and hit Q. Either one of these methods will close a program. Now, for Windows users, you're used to seeing My Computer. My Computer has pretty much all of your files on your system. Apple's a little different. You have the Finder. Finder is this icon on the dock. Mine's a little different color. I've changed all my icons to blue, but yours will have the same image. It'll just be a different color. You click on it, and it opens up pretty much a very familiar screen. Your desktop. This is the folder for whatever account you're logged in as. Applications, which you've installed on your computer, music, documents, so forth. Now you have several views for this. This is probably more familiar to most people. It's the icon view. You can just simply have all your programs listed. You have cover flow view, which I'm not a big fan of cover flow. I find it very slow and clunky to use. This multi-pane view is my favorite. The reason for this is I can click on a folder and I can see its contents in the next pane. I can click on that and see the folder contents again, so I can see more things in one screen. That's just a personal preference. Many people would probably much prefer to have the standard icon view. Now, one thing that makes using programs on Mac probably a little more confusing is that you don't know where to find them. It's fairly easy to find them when they're on the dock, but when you have to go to Finder, Applications, find your program, that's a little burdensome. Now by default, the Applications folder is not on the dock. To add it to the dock, all you do is you go to Finder, you click on the Applications folder on the left, and you can drag it down to the dock and drop it there, and it will add it to your dock. So all you have to do instead of going to Finder Applications is click the folder. It opens up in front of you. You can scroll through it, find your program, open it. Now I'm running in Snow Leopard. The newest operating system from Apple is Lion. I believe that it has this feature built in by default. I could be wrong with that. I've not used line yet. Now the next thing that Windows users may not be familiar with or may want to know is where do I get to the computer settings. So Finder, Applications, scroll to the bottom and you're going to see one that says Preferences, System Preferences. You're going to open this. I personally drag the System Preferences down to my dock so I can just open it from there, but if you've never done that, you need to know where it is. It's Applications, System Preferences. Open that up and you're going to have some very familiar choices. Appearance, obviously you can change pretty much what the computer looks like. You don't have a whole lot of choices, but you can change a few things. Desktop and screensaver, very self-explanatory. Options for the dock. You can change the size of your dock, how large or small you want it. If you want to take up a lot of space on the screen or a little bit, you can turn off the magnification, switch where it is on your screen. Expose and spaces are fairly Mac-only concepts. I've seen them on Linux, and I have seen some programs for Windows that can do the same thing, but not as much. Expose. What this does is it separates out multiple windows. I'm going to open up another window so I can show you what this would look like. So I'm going to go to Finder, Applications to find my applications, and I'm going to open up TextEdit one more time. As you can see on my screen, I have 3 windows open and they're pretty much cluttered up. What Expose does is it will spread the windows out so I can see which one I want, click on it, and it'll give that window focus and put it on top of the stack. Now the way this works is you can set it to use a function key, my computer is F9, or you can set up the corners of your screen to do different things. I've set the top left and top right corners of my screen to split all the windows out when I put my mouse pointer there. I've set the bottom left corner of my screen to when I put the mouse pointer there, everything goes away. And the bottom right corner opens up Dashboard. Dashboard is where your widgets are in Apple. Bottom right corner on mine opens it, closes it. You can set these up however you want. You can set different keys to start them. Spaces may or may not be familiar for some people. This basically lets you have more than one desktop. So I have everything in one screen here. I can hit 2 buttons and slide over to another blank screen and slide back. As you can see right here, you'll see when I scroll through which space I'm working in. Spaces, I believe, can handle up to 16 different screens at one time. I don't see a point to having more than 3. Customize it however you will. CDs and DVDs, you can set options for what happens when you put different types of discs into your computer. Display, energy, keyboard, very common, self-explanatory. Trackpad. If you're using a laptop, as I am, there's one thing that can be confusing. Most Windows users will notice that a MacBook or a MacBook Pro does not have a second button. There's no right-click button. Now, there's 2 ways to right-click. You can either command-click or you can set the trackpad to use 2-finger clicking. What this means is for your right click, instead of having to hold a button and click, you can put 2 fingers on your trackpad and then click, and that'll bring up the right click menu. This is a little strange to get used to at first, but I promise after about 1 day of using it, you will not want a second button. It's a lot faster to use. So it's pretty much putting 2 fingers on the trackpad and clicking, as simple as that, setting up the option. To do that, the option is right here. Put a check mark for secondary clicks, place 2 fingers on trackpad. The only other thing that may be of interest is the sharing folder. Here you can share across your network, DVDs, screens, files, pretty much whatever you want to. You can even share internet connections here. Don't turn on too many of these, especially if you're in an unprotected hotspot, because it can allow other people into your computer. I have remote management turned on, and the only reason I'm not really concerned with anyone getting into my computer that's watching this video is that this IP address will not work unless you're on my home network, and seeing as how no one else is here, it's not going to be a problem. The only thing I would suggest that may help you a little bit is installing Growl. You can do a Google search for it, and I may do a video for it later. What Growl does is whenever an event happens on your computer, in the top right hand corner of the screen, it will give you a display so you can see what's going on. Other than that, I think that's the basics to get you started on using Mac. If there's more interest in more detailed, in-depth breakdown on some of the features that it has, I will make another video if there is a response for it. I hope this helps.